Hello, my friend. This is Dr. Jonathan Miller, and I need to tell you something that might shock you. There is a force, hidden in plain sight, that is quietly speeding up your aging clock. It's not your genes, it's not the birthdays piling up, and it's not bad luck. It's something so ordinary, so familiar, that you probably touch it every single day. And yet, it's silently etching deeper lines into your skin. It's stiffening your joints when you rise from the chair. It's clouding your memory when you search for a simple word, and it's draining your energy until even the afternoon feels heavy. Picture your morning. A cup of coffee, a little something quick on the side. Lunch, easy, convenient. Dinner, simple, less cleanup. Comfortable habits, right? But here's the problem. Comfort can be a thief in disguise. It's like a phone battery that dies faster each day, even when you barely use it. Like garden soil that looks rich, but the roots can't find food. Like a car engine humming along while the oil inside has already turned black. Yes, your body still runs, but underneath it's being worn down cell by cell, year by year, faster than it should. And in just a moment, I'll show you the real culprit. When you hear it, you may never look at your dinner plate the same way again. Before we dive in, if you care about healthy aging, longevity after 60, and nutrition for seniors, go ahead and hit subscribe right now, because what you're about to discover could change the way you age. Let me ask you something, my friend. Do you ever wake up, and instead of feeling rested, you feel like you've barely slept? You stretch, but the joints resist. You walk into the kitchen and it feels like your legs are moving through sand. You try to remember the name of a neighbor and it's right there on the tip of your tongue, but it just won't come. Does that sound familiar? And maybe you've told yourself, well, this is just what happens after 60. This is aging. But what if I told you, not all of this is aging? What if part of this heaviness, this fog, this stiffness was being triggered every single day by something so ordinary, you don't even think twice about it? I've seen it in so many of my patients. They tell me, Doc, I feel drained by noon. My stomach just doesn't settle the way it used to. My energy is gone by the afternoon. And it breaks my heart because so often they believe nothing can change. But the truth is, something is driving this. And if you've been struggling with fatigue, digestive troubles, brain fog, or simply feeling older than your age, you may be experiencing the very same hidden force I'm about to reveal. Have you felt this too? Or maybe someone you love? Hold on to that thought, because in a moment I'll share a story about one of my patients, a man named Roberts. Her journey will show you exactly what I mean and how she turned things around. Over the years, I've worked with hundreds of seniors, people just like you, trying to make sense of why their bodies feel older than their years. I've seen 80-year-olds with more energy than many 60-year-olds. And I've seen people in their early 60s already feeling drained, stiff, and foggy, wondering if their best years are behind them. What's striking is that these struggles aren't always what we think they are. They aren't always just getting older. Sometimes it's something hidden, something subtle, quietly shaping how we feel day after day. Something so ordinary you wouldn't even notice it until it starts showing up in your energy, your memory, your joints. And that's where Robert comes in. Robert is 72, a retired school teacher. He walked into my office feeling exhausted by noon, stiff in the mornings, and frustrated that his mind wasn't as sharp as it used to be. He thought this was just life, catching up. But what we discovered together completely changed his outlook and his daily life. Stay with me, because Robert's journey is not only surprising, it may feel very familiar to you. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is 72, a retired school teacher. You might think retirement would be relaxing, but for him, it felt like his body was working against him. He said, Doc, I wake up tired, my knees ache, I forget things, names, appointments, even small tasks. By the afternoon, I feel completely drained. Sound familiar? Robert tried everything: gentle exercise, vitamins, cutting back on sweets. He followed advice from friends, articles, even fad diets. Nothing worked. It wasn't just fatigue. It was as if his energy was slowly leaking out of him. His mind felt clouded, his joints creaked with every step, and the frustration, it was crushing. Simple joys, walking in the park, playing with grandkids, reading without nodding off, were slipping away. Here's the key. I knew what was causing this. I had seen it countless times in my patients over the years. But for Robert, the impact was so pronounced, so quietly destructive, that it was almost unbelievable. The changes in his body, his energy, his mind, they weren't just aging. There was a hidden factor, ordinary, familiar, right under his nose, quietly accelerating everything he felt. And when I finally explained it to him, it was a turning point. Something he had been doing day after day was affecting his health more than he realized. Stay with me, because Robert's solution, what we discovered together, may feel very familiar, and it could be exactly what you need to. So what was really happening with Robert? The answer wasn't just on his plate. It was hidden in his daily habits, his environment, and the way his body had been quietly fighting a battle for years without him even noticing. Think about breakfast. Robert started his mornings with what many Americans over 60 still believe is light and quick: A slice or two of white toast, sometimes a muffin, and of course his sweetened coffee. To him, it felt harmless. But here's the problem. White bread is basically sugar in disguise. It spikes blood sugar almost as fast as candy. One study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets high in refined grains increase the risk of type 2 diabetes by 49%. And high blood sugar? It doesn't just cause diabetes. It speeds up aging by stiffening your blood vessels and damaging your nerves, like rust spreading silently through old pipes. Then there were the snacks. Robert always kept cookies nearby. Just a little treat, he'd say. But these weren't small treats to his cells. Sugar feeds chronic inflammation, and inflammation is one of the biggest accelerators of aging. A Harvard study showed that people with the highest sugar intake had shorter telomeres, the protective caps of our DNA, equivalent to almost 5 years of extra aging. Imagine that. Every soda or cookie was quietly stealing time from his lifespan. And let's not forget the proteins. Robert loved his sausages and deli meats. Convenient, salty, tasty. But processed meats are loaded with nitrates and preservatives. The World Health Organization has classified them as a Group 1 carcinogen, the same category as tobacco. In fact, daily consumption of processed meats increases colorectal cancer risk by 18%. For Robert, that meant not just higher cancer risk, but also more oxidative stress in his body, the very process that wrinkles skin, weakens bones, and drains energy. Now, let's look beyond food. Robert's environment played a role too. He lived a fairly quiet life after retirement, often sitting long hours in front of the television. It may sound harmless, but sitting more than 6 hours a day is linked to a 19% higher risk of early death, according to research published in the Annals of Internal Medicine. His muscles were shrinking from lack of use, and his mitochondria, the power plants of his cells, were becoming sluggish, like an old battery that no longer holds a charge. And what about sleep? Robert thought 5 to 6 hours a night was enough. "I've always been a light sleeper," he'd say. But the science disagrees. Adults over 60 who sleep fewer than 6 hours regularly have a 33% higher risk of cognitive decline. Without proper sleep, his body wasn't repairing, his brain wasn't clearing toxins, and his hormones were out of balance. Cortisol, the stress hormone, stayed high. Melatonin, the repair hormone, stayed low. That's a recipe for accelerated aging. Stress played its part too. Robert often worried about finances, about his children, even about the news he watched daily. Chronic stress is like leaving your car engine running all night. Cortisol floods the system, raises blood pressure, and suppresses immunity. Studies from the University of California show that caregivers under constant stress had telomeres shortened by the equivalent of 10 years of aging. Robert wasn't a caregiver, but the principle is the same. Stress ages us at the cellular level. Now, you might be wondering, why am I sharing all of this? Because Robert's story is not unique. It's the story of millions of Americans over 60. It's the story of habits that seem small, a quick breakfast, a nightly TV session, a restless night's sleep, but together they form a powerful tide that pulls us faster toward aging than we ever expected. And here's where it gets interesting. In Robert's case, when I connected these dots, the foods, the sitting, the sleep, the stress, it was like seeing the pieces of a puzzle snap into place. I knew the exact culprits, and more importantly, I knew what changes could help him reclaim years of energy and vitality. But let me pause for a moment. How about you? When you think about your own daily habits, the foods you eat, how much you move, how you sleep, do you see any of Robert's patterns in yourself? If you do, you're not alone. And the good news is, every single one of these habits can be turned around. So stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll walk you through the specific swaps, practical, science-backed changes you can make to slow down aging and bring energy back into your life. And I promise, they're easier than you think. Now that we've uncovered the hidden forces silently speeding up aging, it's time to take action. The good news is that you have more control than you might think. Small, deliberate changes in your daily routine can start to slow the clock almost immediately, and the effects compound over time. Let's start with food, because it's one of the most powerful levers you have. Instead of focusing on what Robert used to eat, the sugary drinks or processed meats, let's talk about what can repair the body. Breakfast can be transformed in minutes. Half a cup of steel-cut oats topped with berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon not only stabilizes blood sugar, but provides antioxidants that protect your cells from oxidative stress. Swapping a sausage patty for a boiled egg or a small portion of cottage cheese gives your body high-quality protein without harmful preservatives. Lunch and dinner are equally important. Replace white rice or pasta with whole grains like quinoa, barley, or brown rice. These slow-digesting carbs help maintain energy and prevent insulin spikes. Lean proteins, such as chicken, fish, or tofu, support muscle repair, which is crucial because we naturally lose muscle mass after 60. And instead of frying foods, try air frying, baking, or steaming, which reduces damaging oxidized fats that accelerate aging. Even small swaps like roasting vegetables with olive oil instead of deep frying make a difference over time. Movement doesn't require a gym membership or heavy equipment. The body thrives on gentle, consistent activity. Walking briskly for 20 to 30 minutes most days, stretching, and light resistance exercises help maintain muscle, bone density, and cardiovascular health. Simple habits like standing while talking on the phone or taking a short walk after each meal reduce the harmful effects of prolonged sitting. Studies show that seniors who move regularly experience slower cognitive decline and stronger immune function. Think of your muscles and joints like a car engine. Even gentle movement keeps the parts well oiled and responsive. Next is sleep, the nightly repair process. Going to bed at the same time each night and aiming for 7 to 8 hours helps your body reset, restores hormone balance, and clears toxins from the brain. Avoiding caffeine late in the day, keeping the bedroom dark and cool, and limiting screen time an hour before bed can dramatically improve sleep quality. Even a small improvement, say an extra 30 to 60 minutes of restorative sleep, translates into better memory, mood, and energy. Stress management is often overlooked, but is critical. Simple practices, deep breathing, brief meditation, gentle stretching, or even spending a few minutes outside in sunlight can reduce cortisol levels and inflammation. Studies show that regular stress-reducing activities in seniors are linked to longer telomeres, lower blood pressure, and better mental clarity. Sharing concerns with a friend or joining a community activity also boosts resilience and combats isolation, which itself accelerates aging. The environment around you matters more than many realize. Indoor air quality, exposure to pollutants, and household chemicals all influence inflammation and cellular health. Introducing a HEPA filter, ventilating your home when outdoor air is clean, and switching to natural cleaning products can reduce invisible stressors on your body. Even relocating plants or spending time in green spaces can improve oxygenation and mental well-being. The most important principle to remember is this: you don't need to change everything at once. Start with one shift that feels doable. Maybe it's adding a daily walk, swapping sugary drinks for water, or adjusting your bedtime. Each small change builds momentum and confidence, making the next adjustment easier. Here's a practical way to commit. Pick one habit this week, do it consistently, and notice how your body responds. Perhaps it's preparing a healthier breakfast 3 times this week, or taking a 5-minute stretching break each morning. These small victories compound, and before long, you'll see real improvements in energy, mood, and even how your clothes fit. Imagine Robert 6 months later. He had swapped refined carbs for whole grains, incorporated brief walks and stretching, improved his sleep schedule, and practiced stress relief exercises daily. His energy rebounded, joints felt less stiff, and his mood brightened. Most importantly, he felt in control of his health, a feeling that no supplement or pill could ever replicate. So take a moment to reflect. Which one change could you realistically start this week? Make a personal commitment to yourself. It could be as simple as a single swap at breakfast or a short walk after dinner. Writing it down or sharing it in the comments is a powerful first step toward keeping that promise. Remember, every small action compounds, and the path to healthier aging begins with just one deliberate step. Before we finish today, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Picture waking up tomorrow with just a little more energy, a little clearer mind, joints that feel lighter, and a renewed sense of control over your health. That's not a dream. It's the result of the small, deliberate changes we've talked about. We've seen how hidden factors like sugar, processed foods, long hours of sitting, restless sleep, stress, and even the air we breathe can quietly speed up aging. Each of these forces can make you feel years older, but the powerful truth is this: you can take back control. Every healthy swap, every short walk, every restful night, every stress-reducing practice chips away at the damage and restores vitality. Remember Robert? He started with just a few simple steps: better breakfasts, a daily walk, improved sleep, and brief stress relief exercises. Within months, he felt more alive, more confident, and more like himself again. If he could make that transformation, so can you. Now I want you to reflect for a moment. After hearing today's tips, which one change in your routine, diet, or environment feels doable for you this week? Whether it's drinking water instead of soda, adding a short walk, or improving your sleep schedule, make a personal promise to yourself. Sharing it in the comments can make that commitment even stronger. And don't forget, your journey doesn't have to be done alone. Like, comment, and subscribe to get more evidence-backed tips for healthy aging. Share your story, ask questions, and connect with others who are committed to living longer, stronger, and healthier. Remember, aging is inevitable, but how you age is in your hands. Each small, deliberate action you take today moves you toward a longer, healthier, more vibrant life. This is Dr. Jonathan Miller. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, take care of yourself, honor your body, and embrace each day with intention.